there's a way you can sell your gear without Reverb or eBay or whomever reporting it to the IRS. Hey there, it's me, Matt Esquire. Welcome once again to Blues Lawyer Confessional. It being February, you've undoubtedly heard that Reverb is sending out the 1099s. Yes, it sucks. No, it's not Reverb's fault. It's the law. If you don't like it, call your congressperson. Now, the good news is that if you're watching this video in 2025, you're probably not getting a 1099. That's because the 2024 threshold is only $5,000. That's the good news. And that's just about all the good news there is, because there's no transaction floor. It doesn't matter if you sell $150 pickguards, $25 $200 pedals, or one $5,000 Murphy lab. Over $5,000, you get a 1099. The bad news doesn't stop there though, because the 2025 threshold, as in the one for this year, is $2,500. So if you sell 2 guitars this year, a year from now, Reverb's probably going to send you a 1099. And the worst news is that in 2026, the threshold drops down to $600. Look, I know, it sounds like bullshit, and I don't care where you are on the political spectrum. The bottom line is that it's the law. Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the United States Constitution states that direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states, which may be included within this union according to their respective numbers. Close quote. Moreover, the 16th Amendment, ratified in 1913, provides that the Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived, without apportionment among the several states and without regard to any census or enumeration. Now, the 16th Amendment has been reviewed by the Supreme Court and upheld numerous times. For example, in Broshaber versus Union Pacific Railroad Company back in 1916, the Supreme Court stated that Section 61 sub A of the Internal Revenue Code defines gross income as income from whatever source derived unless otherwise excluded or exempted. And guess what? Reverb sales are neither exempt nor excluded. Moreover, this isn't really anything new. Technically, you had to pay taxes on Reverb income before the change. You made money, that's income. It's subject to tax. That's not what changed. What changed is the reporting. Third-party platforms have to report the transactions, specifically at a lower amount because of the computerization. Now, what you need to first understand is that getting the 1099 doesn't mean you're actually going to pay taxes on those transactions. All it is Reverb or whatever other platform you're using telling Los Federales that you received income. Whether you had a profit or a loss, that's on you to prove. And that's where it can get tricky. Let's say you're selling a guitar. You list it on Reverb for $1,000 and, for example, that includes the shipping. So you sell the guitar for $1,000. Now Reverb isn't going to send you $1,000 because they are going to take their cut. But the 1099 will be for $1,000. So what gives? Why is Reverb saying you got $1,000? That's because the only thing Reverb will exclude are the marketplace facilitator taxes. Those are the relevant state sales taxes that Reverb calculates and remits on you, the seller's behalf. Everything else is part of that $1,000. And if you don't want to pay taxes on that full $1,000, well, you're going to have to itemize. So you receive $1,000, but of that, the guitar was $500, Reverb fees were $100, and shipping was $50. So you have $1,000 of income, but only $350 is profit. That's what you're going to pay the tax on. Not $1,000, $350. And what's nice is that the Reverb receipt's going to include a breakdown of the Reverb fees and the shipping costs. Your basis in the item, how much you paid for it, that's on you. Now, if you don't have the receipt, you can still say how much you paid for it. Not having the receipt doesn't make it untrue. But in the event that the IRS wants something more than just your say-so, well, you're going to be in a bit of a sticky wicket. So what's the ultimate problem with the 1099 reporting change? The problem is that a whole lot of people are now going to have to itemize. Maybe not this year, but possibly next year, and almost certainly 2026. And trust me, it's a pain in the ass. It's why I don't do my own taxes. However, there's a way you can sell your gear without Reverb or eBay or whomever reporting it to the IRS. And honestly, it may just be the best method depending on where you are. What's the trick the IRS doesn't want you to know? The trick is, don't sell on Reverb. Sell to your friendly local guitar shop. They'll most likely give you about 60 to 65% of Reverb fair market value for it. So let's go back to our example. We sold the guitar on Reverb for $1,000, but we didn't get $1,000. We got $850 because Reverb took a cut, and the shipping's going to cost you, the seller, money. Reverb's basic fee is 5%. There's also the 3.19 payment processing fee. Plus, if you decide to pay for the Reverb bump, that's half a percentage. So people will actually see your item. And then there's the shipping cost. Now, in our example, the sales price was $1,000, but once you hit $1,500, you're required to pay for safe shipping, which Reverb's going to charge you between 1.5 and 3% of the sales price. In fact, if you don't want to believe me, here's an actual real-world example. This person had bought a synth. Now, when they bought it, it was listed at $2,250. This person got a 10% discount, bringing the subtotal down to $2,025. Now, they didn't pay $2,025. They also had to add $207.56 of tax and shipping, so that brought the total up to $23.32.56. That's where the guy started. 6 months later, he sold it for $1,750 plus $15 shipping. So that brings it to $1,800. But wait, the buyer actually paid a total of $19.44 because you got to include the sales tax on his end. So the seller, once Reverb took their 5% cut, plus the 3.19 processing fee, plus the 0.5 bump, plus the safe shipping, the whole transaction net was $1,586.56, meaning from original purchase to selling it back on Reverb 6 months later, he lost $746. So, dividing that $1,586.56 net by the initial outlay of $23.32.56, he recouped 68%. Now, this guy had to take all the photos, he had to go on down to the shipping store, he had to buy the shipping supplies, and he's going to have to deal with the tax implications. Remember what I just said. You sell this to your local friendly guitar shop, and you're probably going to get about 60 to 65, and you're not going to have the tax liability. Now, look, I understand. I'm lucky. There's quite a few places I can go around here in Maryland. Closest to me is Victor Litz, but I can also go to Atomic Music in Beltsville, Orion Fowler Guitar Experience in Towson, or Bill's Music out in Catonsville. I can even go to one of any 5 GCs. And each and every place, I can probably get about 60 to 65%. So, is that a little bit less than what I'd get on Reverb? Yeah, it is. But I'm not going to have a 1099 to deal with. I don't have to deal with the shipping. I don't have the not so small chance that a buyer is going to try to pull a fast one to finagle a discount with some BS claim of damage that I'm going to have to neurose about for weeks. Yeah, it's less money, but it's also less hassle. Not to mention the fact that it sells today. I take my guitar down to the shop today, I sell it today. No joke. There have been items that I've listed on Reverb that just sat and sat and sat. Low visibility, low views. At the end of the day, we're now entering this brave new world where the feds are going to know every dime you get. You're going to need to know some shortcuts. As always, less fiddling, more playing.